On this day in history, we remember the remarkable individuals who shaped our world. Welcome to Who Died Today in History, where we honor their legacies. From artists to leaders, their impact lives on. If you find their stories meaningful, like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay connected.
Thank you to all our amazing channel members for your generous support.
Aaron Carter, child pop sensation whose "I Want Candy" bounced from TRL to middle school dances, died accidentally on November 5, 2022 at 34. Alone in his Lancaster, California home, he inhaled difluoroethane from compressed air cans and swallowed alprazolam, Xanax, after a warm bath. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner ruled it drowning in the tub, body submerged face down amid empty canisters and prescription bottles scattered like confetti from a party that never ended. His death captured early 2000s fame's toxic underbelly, a generation of Disney Nickelodeon prodigies thrust into spotlight, then discarded amid social media scrutiny, mental health crises, and the opioid Xanax cocktail ravaging millennial celebrities. Aaron's battles, schizophrenia diagnosis at 29, huffing to take the pain away, custody wars over son Prince, mirrored an era valuing viral vulnerability over sustainable support, where Aaron's party anthems masked cries for help in plain sight on Live with Regis and Instagram Lives. Immediate fallout was raw and familial. Fiancée Melanie Martin found him prune-skinned and unresponsive at 9:01 a.m. Deputies sealed the Spanish-style house as fans gathered with teddy bears and crushed candy wrappers. Sister Angel posted a GoFundMe for funeral costs, raising $20,000 in hours. Brother Nick canceled Backstreet Boys' Oklahoma City show, tweeting, "My heart is broken." Streams of Aaron's Party, Come Get It, surged 1,200% on Spotify, pushing the 2000 album back to Billboard's top 200 for the first time in decades. No thrones fell, yet his legend ballooned into cautionary icon. The Little Prince, who outsold Big Brother at 12, tattooed love across his face and died chasing numbness. Documentaries like Fallen Idols, 2024, dissected the Carter curse. His unfinished album Recovery leaked tracks posthumously, fueling addiction awareness PSAs. Caesar's blades forged empire, Alexander's fever fractured realms, Tyka's heart echoed Prince, Sheila's cancer outlasted Elvis, Marty's laugh defied lymphoma, Aaron's tub silenced a boy man adrift. Mortality mocks fame's illusions, reminding power is fleeting, memory selective. We immortalize him in TikTok dances to "That's How I Beat Shaq," in mental health hotlines named for lost stars, in every parent shielding child actors from the machine. Art remixes his hooks, commemoration builds foundations, love, fragile as candy, endures the drown. Poised between vulnerability and strength, Jill Clayburgh became one of the defining actresses of the 1970s, a period when Hollywood finally began to explore the emotional complexities of women's lives. With her performances in An Unmarried Woman, 1978, and Starting Over, 1979, she gave voice to a generation of women navigating independence, identity, and shifting social expectations. Off-screen, however, Clayburgh's own life mirrored a quieter kind of courage, one defined not by cinematic drama, but by endurance. For over 20 years, she lived with chronic lymphocytic leukemia, a long and exhausting illness that she managed privately while continuing to work in film and theater. Her death in 2010 at the age of 66 was natural but deeply symbolic of the grace and perseverance she had long embodied. Clayburgh's passing reflected a broader generational shift in Hollywood and society. By the late 2000s, The kind of nuanced, character-driven storytelling she had championed was giving way to franchise films and mass-market entertainment. Her departure thus represented more than the loss of a beloved actress. It signified the fading of an artistic era that valued introspection and realism over spectacle. In Life and Death, Clayburgh personified authenticity, choosing to live with her illness quietly rather than turning it into public drama. That decision spoke to a humility rare in an age increasingly defined by exposure and performance. The immediate response to her death was an outpouring of admiration from colleagues and critics who recognized how profoundly she had shaped the representation of women on screen. Actresses who followed, such as Meryl Streep and Julianne Moore, often cited Clayburgh's influence in opening doors for more emotionally honest portrayals. While her death did not shift the course of history in a geopolitical sense, it deepened her legend within the cultural memory of feminist cinema. Clayburgh's story reminds us how mortality and art intertwine. Death often crystallizes what life only hints at, revealing the moral and emotional truths a person stood for. In remembering her through films, retrospectives, and tributes, we engage in an act of collective preservation, transforming loss into legacy. Humanity's impulse to immortalize figures like Jill Clayburgh stems from our yearning to find meaning in impermanence, to believe that integrity, empathy, and artistry can outlast the body that bore them. Measured, modest, and effortlessly charming, Fred MacMurray embodied the quintessential American everyman. From screwball comedies of the 1930s to his later role as the lovable father in My Three Sons, he reflected the values of stability and decency that many Americans cherished through decades of social change. Yet behind that wholesome persona stood a complex and disciplined man whose career spanned the golden age of Hollywood. In his final years, MacMurray faced the quiet, inevitable decline of age. He suffered a severe stroke in 1988 and later battled leukemia, passing away in 1991 at the age of 83 from natural causes. His death, peaceful and unembellished, mirrored the steady composure that had defined his public image for half a century. MacMurray's departure came at a time when Hollywood itself was evolving rapidly, transitioning from the classic studio system he had thrived in to a landscape dominated by spectacle, celebrity culture, and cynicism. His passing symbolized the end of an era when decency, restraint, and professionalism were hallmarks of stardom. Throughout his career, he had resisted the excesses often associated with fame. He avoided scandals, managed his finances wisely, and maintained a quiet family life far from the chaos of Hollywood. In that sense, the natural simplicity of his death seemed to affirm the values of humility and discipline he had lived by. The immediate aftermath of his passing brought waves of nostalgia. Tributes poured in, not for a rebellious icon or tragic hero, but for a symbol of enduring normalcy in an industry defined by reinvention. His colleagues remembered him as one of the most reliable and genuine figures in film, a man who elevated those around him without ever demanding the spotlight. His most famous dramatic role, as the morally conflicted insurance salesman in Double Indemnity, 1944, gained renewed attention, with critics re-examining how MacMurray had quietly expanded Hollywood's understanding of masculinity and moral ambiguity. In death, Fred MacMurray became more than a relic of Hollywood's past. He became a reminder of its moral compass. His life and passing reveal humanity's persistent desire to find dignity in simplicity, to honor those who embody consistency rather than chaos. Through reruns, retrospectives, and the timeless appeal of his films, we continue to immortalize MacMurray as the face of integrity in an ever-changing world, proof that decency too can achieve immortality. Radiant, fearless, and heartbreakingly relatable, Marília Mendonça was more than Brazil's Queen of Suffering. she was the voice of a generation. Through her raw and emotional lyrics, she redefined sertanejo, a genre long dominated by men, giving women a space to speak about love, betrayal, and self-worth without apology. Her sudden death on November 5, 2021, in a plane crash near Caratinga, Minas Gerais, shocked a nation. The small aircraft struck power lines before crashing, killing all 5 people on board. It was a violent and tragic end for a woman whose music had so powerfully celebrated resilience and joy amid life's pain. The circumstances of her death reflected the contradictions of modern fame, how the pursuit of connection through relentless touring and performance can collide with the fragility of life itself. Mendonça was en route to another concert, doing what she loved most, bringing her music to ordinary people across Brazil. That her life ended mid-journey between stage and sky felt painfully symbolic of an artist whose rise had been meteoric and whose career embodied constant motion. The immediate aftermath revealed the depth of her cultural impact. Across Brazil, millions mourned in the streets, and her songs surged to the top of streaming charts. Television networks halted programming to air tributes, and political figures from all sides expressed grief, proof of her ability to transcend class, gender, and ideology. Her funeral drew vast crowds, turning into a national event that blurred the line between personal and collective loss. For many Brazilians, her death felt like the silencing of a voice that had spoken their truths in a way few artists ever could. In death, Mendonça's legend only grew. Her image came to symbolize both empowerment and fragility, the paradox of being adored for one's strength while remaining vulnerable to fate. Her story echoed the timeless pattern of artists gone too soon, whose passing crystallizes their message and amplifies their reach. Marília Mendonça's life and loss remind us of humanity's complex dance with mortality and memory. We immortalize figures like her through song, tribute, and shared emotion, acts that turn grief into legacy. Her voice continues to echo from car radios, bars, and family gatherings, proving that while death may still the body, art carries the soul forward, transforming personal tragedy into eternal resonance. Vinette Carroll was a trailblazer who transformed the American stage into a platform for truth and empowerment. As the first Black woman to direct on Broadway, she broke barriers not through spectacle, but through substance, insisting that theater could be both art and activism. Her life's work revolved around giving voice to the marginalized, particularly through her celebrated productions such as Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope, and Your Arm's Too Short to Box with God. In the final years of her life, Carroll lived quietly in Miami, far from the spotlight she had once commanded. She passed away in 2002 at the age of 80, her death the result of natural causes. Her passing reflected both the triumphs and trials of her era. Carroll's generation of artists carried the burden of representation, often working within institutions that were slow to embrace diversity. By the early 2000s, when she died, the cultural landscape she had helped to shape was only beginning to acknowledge the full measure of Black women's contributions to American art. That her death received less public attention than those of her male contemporaries mirrored the systemic inequities she had spent her life confronting, a reminder that even revolutionaries can be forgotten too soon. The immediate consequences of her passing were felt most deeply in the theater community, where scholars and artists began revisiting her legacy. Her pioneering work with the Urban Arts Corps, a company she founded to make theater accessible to underprivileged youth, gained renewed recognition for its visionary blend of performance and social commentary. Younger directors, particularly women of color, began citing her as a foundational influence, proof that her ideas had outlived her fame. Vinette Carroll's story reveals the paradox of mortality and memory, that those who build pathways for others often fade from sight while their impact continues to ripple outward. Her death did not amplify her legend through tragedy or scandal, but through rediscovery, through the gradual acknowledgement that the modern American stage stands on foundations she helped to lay. In remembering Carroll, we see how humanity immortalizes figures not merely through monuments or fame, but through continuation, the ways their courage inspires new voices to rise. Her art remains a quiet anthem of resilience, reminding us that true legacy lives not in applause but in the echoes of change it leaves behind. Amedeo Nazari, one of Italy's most iconic film stars of the mid-20th century, passed away in Rome at the age of 71. His death was from natural causes, marking the quiet close of a life that had once burned brightly under the spotlight of Italian cinema's golden age. Known for his commanding presence and dignified masculinity, Nazari's career spanned over 4 decades, bridging fascist-era propaganda films, post-war neorealism, and the changing landscape of modern European cinema. His passing symbolized not just the loss of an actor, but the fading of an era defined by national identity, resilience, and transformation through art. During the height of Mussolini's regime, Nazari became a cinematic symbol of Italian virility and moral strength. His roles often aligned with the ideals of courage, honor, and sacrifice, traits that reflected the values the state sought to promote. Yet after the war, he adeptly redefined himself in post-fascist Italy, embodying more human, introspective characters that mirrored a nation reckoning with its past. By the time of his death, he represented continuity, a figure who had evolved alongside Italy's turbulent 20th century journey. The immediate aftermath of his death was one of national reflection rather than shock. Nazari had long since stepped back from major film roles, yet his influence lingered. Italian newspapers and colleagues remembered him as the gentleman of cinema, a bridge between the glamorous illusion of stardom and the grounded humanity that Italian film would later prize. His funeral drew both admirers and fellow artists, underscoring the affection and respect he commanded across generations. In death, Nazari's legend deepened. Much like American icons of the same era, Cary Grant or Gregory Peck, his image remained timeless, preserved through the films that captured Italy's evolving dreams and fears. His passing encouraged a renewed appreciation of Italy's cinematic heritage, sparking retrospectives and critical studies that cemented his place as more than an actor. He was a cultural mirror of his nation's heart. Amedeo Nazari's death reminds us how mortality can amplify legacy. While life ends, art immortalizes. Through film reels, photographs, and public memory, we revisit him not as a man lost to time, but as a symbol of integrity, resilience, and grace. His story reveals humanity's enduring need to remember, to transform loss into legacy and death into an eternal performance. Ward Bond, one of Hollywood's most recognizable character actors, died suddenly on November 5, 1960, at the age of 57. His death was the result of a heart attack suffered in Dallas, Texas, while attending a football game. It was a natural but unexpected end for a man whose presence had become an integral part of American cinema. Bond's passing symbolized the fading of an era in which rugged masculinity, loyalty, and patriotic conviction defined not only the film industry, but also the American cultural identity of the mid-20th century. Throughout his prolific career, Bond appeared in over 200 films, often as the embodiment of steadfast courage and moral authority. He was a close friend and collaborator of John Ford and John Wayne, two pillars of American filmmaking who shaped the mythic image of the West. From The Searchers to It's a Wonderful Life, Bond's characters reflected the working-class heroism that resonated with Depression-era and post-war audiences. His sudden death, occurring at the height of his television success as the star of Wagon Train, shocked Hollywood and his fans alike. Production on the series halted temporarily, and his absence left a palpable void in one of America's most beloved TV shows. Bond's death came at a moment when Hollywood was transitioning from its studio-driven golden age to the more complex, questioning cinema of the 1960s. The loss of such a familiar moral figure on screen mirrored the cultural uncertainty of the time. America was moving from the idealism of the post-war years into a decade of turbulence and change. His death, therefore, did not merely mark the end of a life, it underscored a shift in the collective psyche of the American audience. In the years that followed, Ward Bond's reputation endured less through celebrity worship and more through the sheer volume and sincerity of his work. His face, rugged, sincere, and unmistakably human, remains etched into the memory of classic Hollywood. His colleagues remembered him as a loyal friend, sometimes fiery in temperament, but deeply committed to his craft and his country. Ward Bond's passing reminds us of humanity's impulse to preserve meaning through memory. Death silences the performer, but not the performance. We immortalize figures like Bond, not only through the films they leave behind, but also through what they represent: strength, loyalty, and the enduring spirit of an era that believed character was destiny.